September 13th, 2023, in a world full of touchdowns and grand slams. Come and join us on our third brand. It's Fightful Overbooked, and it's time to get in the weeds. I guess we're the second brand. Third would probably be Scraps, right? No, if Select, is that its own brand? Jeremy Lambert, help me out.
We could maybe consider Select its own brand, but there's no YouTube channel technically for Select. I mean, we've been dubbed the developmental of Fightful. We got Will Washington his job at AEW. I'm pretty sure we can take credit for that, right?
I don't see why not.
Where was he before Day After Dynamite, which started on this channel? What did he ever do before that?
All I'm saying is that in the AEW canon, he wasn't talking about AEW really anywhere else as extensively as he was on this channel.
That's right. And then he got called up to the main roster, which is the Fightful main channel. And then now look at him. So yeah, we'll take credit for all of, I don't want to do any of that. Will knows we will love him and that he deserves everything he has gotten and worked for it. Not so much, I mean, he does deserve it, but he earned everything he's gotten and worked for it. We had absolutely nothing to do with it outside of, I've told him a million times, and I've said this a million times. When he asked, "Hey, can I do this show?" I was like, "Yes, you're Will Washington. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. Please, we would love to have the show on the channel." And then all started from there. So no, we deserve no credit for Will's success. Absolutely none.
Meanwhile, when I pitch, it's all just sure, but it comes with these parameters. Otherwise, you're not doing.
Yeah, you're Joel Pearl. You can't do whatever you want. You're the reason, people shucky ducky here in the chat at 10:03, just question marks. Where's the show starting? Well, we were late, everybody, because Joel Pearl, I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit. Joel said that he had to put together some last minute things for my birthday show on Friday. And that's why we were late today. So I will excuse this lateness, Joel, because you had a very good reason of being late. You're working very hard on my birthday show on Friday. And so you were on the phone, you were around the horn, making the calls, trying to dot the I's and cross the T's, get everything in line. We got a big show on Friday, everybody, a tremendous show, a monumental In the Weeds show as we celebrate my birthday.
Listen, you know how hard it is to get in touch with Will Washington on a travel day? Not even a travel on a show day, Jeremy Lambert. It's very difficult. He's hard to find.
I imagine where they're at. Where are they at tonight? They're in Cincy tonight. Cincy.
Yeah.
So
that's gonna be a fun show. We're gonna run down that card. I know we will. But at 10:30 a.m., we're gonna be joined by the Smash Wrestling Women's World Champion Dream Girl Ellie. We also get to talk about Ellie about a little show that's debuting on Netflix called Wrestlers, because I believe she's in there a little bit, isn't she, Jeremy?
I believe so. I think that is the rumor and innuendo. So yeah, a lot to talk about with Ellie. Looking forward to that. This is do we want to promote this? Fingers crossing.
We'll pull the curtain back a little bit. We've been trying to book Ellie, or at least have her appear on the show for the last few episodes. There were some communication issues, and then eventually everything got locked down on Monday. So the plan is that she's going to join us 10:30 a.m. It's not a long chat. It's probably going to be about 15-20 minutes, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about wrestlers. We'll talk about the Smash Women's World Championship and also her match against Silesia Sparks that's happening on the 16th, which is, I believe, Saturday, over at London Western University Fairground. So we got plenty to talk about with Dream Girl Ellie at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. This is a very women's wrestling heavy show this week, Jeremy, because well, first of all, okay, before we get into the actual meat of it, I do want to point out WWE or TKO sent out a press release announcing that the Royal Rumble is officially going to be at the Tropicana Field at the Trop on Saturday, January 27th. So looking forward to that. And then Raw is going to be at the Amalie Arena in Tampa on the 29th. So
Thunderdome? Are they going back to the Thunderdome, baby?
Yeah, we're bringing it back.
Nice.
Tropicana Field.
Good. I'm glad we're going back to the Thunderdome for that. Yeah, good on them. Good on Tampa getting that. They don't have enough wrestling down there in Florida.
They really don't. Do you think they should run They should do a dark taping that weekend too. Like AEW should just come in and be like, we were here first.
That's ROH. ROH is going to do that.
Oh yeah, that's right. ROH is doing the thing now. Dark doesn't exist
Yeah.
anymore. Well, Dark does exist now, just known as Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, while you're here, you can go ahead, leave a thumbs up on the video, and subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbook. Probably my best segue I've ever done. And on top of that, if you donate a super chat, any amount, get your question statement read on the air, and it supports us here at Fightful Overbook. Gets our talented contributors paid. The ones that you watch on this screen, on this channel, sometimes every single day, sometimes every other day. Either way, there are people who are on these channels a lot, so support them by giving
Nobody's on this channel every single day outside of me, unfortunately.
We got to talk about YouTube memberships. That's the next step.
Oh, well, be a member, everyone. We're going to be like Sam's Club.
We haven't opened up yet, by the way. We haven't opened up YouTube membership yet because we have some ideas bandied about that we need to discuss.
I don't have any ideas, Joel. Do you have ideas?
I do. We're going to talk about it off the air because I want to bring these ideas in. But if you want to be a YouTube member, let us know in the chat if that's something you would donate some hard-earned monthly money to. We're going to put up some extra content for your membership. That would be the plan. Maybe Jeremy and I
got to do more.
Maybe you and I do it in the weeds extra after this episode, kind of like how Sean and Jimmy do the list goes on. We'll do our own version without the weird theme song. We'll do our weird theme song.
Wait. I got to not only do more, but I got to do more with you?
That's the plan. Yes, more.
This sounds like the worst thing in the world. I vehemently oppose this.
Okay, but what if I told you that the membership revenue goes to us instead?
We got to get a lot of members if this is the case. We got to get and I know I'm selling this very well. Here's the way I could sell this. If you want to make my life more miserable by having me do more work and by having me spend more time with Joel Pearl, please say you will want to be a member and say you will join the Wheaties. We can't use that. We might get sued. Say you will join the Wheatie membership here at Fightful Overbooked. If you would like to make my life more miserable, my professional life, personal life is good. If you'd like to make my professional life more miserable by adding on more work, God knows I don't do enough, Joel, and doing more work with you, God knows we don't do enough, then become a member.
We haven't opened up membership yet, but when we do it.
Don't, everybody. Just don't.
All right, let's get into the real stuff. Let's get into the real weeds. Last night on NXT.
Let's wait on this. We only got like 12 minutes. Or we only got a little bit of time before Dream Girl Ellie comes on.
Okay, then let's talk about whatever the hell. Hey, what do you have for breakfast this morning?
Oatmeal, actually.
Delicious. What a delightful treat.
Yeah. I had oatmeal. What'd you have, Joel?
You know what I did? I took leftover eggplant parmesan and I put it in a wrap. That was my breakfast.
Okay, let's talk about Becky Lynch. That was awful.
No, it was delicious. It actually tasted really good. You put a little cheese on it, you melt the cheese, put it in a burrito. Listen, if there's one thing I learned, it's that if you want to eat burrito, you can put anything in there. Just anything goes into burrito.
True. There's this game called Taco or Burrito. Have you heard of this?
I assume if it's hard shell, it's a taco. If it's large, it's a burrito.
Okay, but it's not like that at all. It's like a card game. It's like one of those like card games like Exploding Kittens. Anybody ever played this? But like your goal is to like rack up the points with your taco and burrito, and the good stuff counts for positive points, and the bad stuff counts for negative points. And then there's all this different stuff. It's a card game basically, and you can play with multiple people. The children love this game and play it. We play it all the time. So taco versus burrito. That's my ad read. They don't pay us anything, but there's my ad read for taco versus burrito. if anybody would like to check out that game. It's a fun children's game and fun for adults as well.
What was that? What was that inflection right there?
I don't know.
It's fun for adults as well. It sounds like you're about to do a Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, that's what it did sound like. I was going, "Come to Disneyland, everybody! Ha ha!
Oh, it
Play
sucks.
taco versus burrito! Ha ha!
Oh,
Put nose hair in your taco! Ha ha!"
oh no.
That's what I do. You put like nose hair. You can put all kinds of disgusting stuff in your taco or burrito, whichever you would like to put in there.
What do you put in your burrito when you get a burrito?
Like my legit
burrito?
Yeah.
What's your actual burrito? Not, you don't have to put everything, but like what's your go-to? What is it? What has to be in there?
I like a good bean burrito, if I'm being honest. Like, yeah, I like a good bean burrito. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. All right, then.
Good bean burrito.
I mean, I like a good chicken burrito. Maybe something a little spicy in there, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. This is riveting content that we got. We got 15 minutes. So what do you, I don't know if I want to get into the Nia Jax return either this early.
A lot going on. The merger happened. Yesterday was a day with the merger.
So let's give a little merger talk, because I mean, you and I have talked about it extensively. We don't need to go too deep into the weeds, the irony of this being a Vince McMahon story, but let's talk about it. The TKO group officially opened. If you follow them on Twitter, they follow two people. One is ESPN. The other is the guy that they're planning on taking over the account from when they get a moment. But other than that, yeah, big day for them. They opened up on the stock market, did a bunch of interviews. Nick Khan seems to think that there's a big crossover going on between it.
No. I mean, Nick Khan thinks a little bit, but this was Lawrence Epstein, who's like,
was that Lawrence?
Yeah. Lawrence is like, we want every UFC fan to be a WWE fan.
Seems bad. Would you do that? Well, I mean, would you consider yourself one of both?
Yes. I mean, look, I started on Fightful covering the UFC. I've been a UFC fan for a very long time. My interest has waned over the years, just as other things in life has happened. But I still watch the big fights. I watched the Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland fight from this past weekend. If there's a fight that I'm interested in, I will watch it. Sean has said this before, is like the easiest way to hate MMA is to cover MMA, because like there's so much going on. It's very true. Like so much going on in the world of MMA. And like a lot of times it's not always good. There's so many fighters and not all these fights are good and everything. But yeah, I would consider myself both. I know there are, I think Jimmy Van said this because that quote was making the rounds yesterday. And, Fightful opened on the premise of that, is like, oh, let's cover UFC, MMA, boxing, wrestling, because there is crossover. It's all sports entertainment, combat sports entertainment, basically. And there's a lot of crossover. And then Jimmy and Sean and I kind of all found out, and a whole lot of crossover with this. Like the fan bases are very divided in that, like WWE does think that WWE fans like seemingly have respect for UFC and MMA, but UFC MMA fans are like, that, get that fake shit out of here. Like, we don't want anything to do with this. And like, I get it that a lot of people who I know who like one or the other typically don't like the other or don't keep up with the other. Like the wrestling fans find, I think, MMA too violent. This is from my experience, from people that I know. Wrestling fans don't always like MMA. They find it like just too violent type of thing. And MMA fans would go the fake route of like, why are we going to watch this performative art nonsense when we can watch real men throw hands and try to break limbs? So yeah, I don't think there is like a ton of crossover. I love Dana White just being like, that's stupid. That's a dumb quote. Like there's just not.
There isn't. There is, but there isn't. There's no like connective tissue that, other than athleticism, that gets people invested in both wrestling and MMA, in my opinion. I'm not an MMA fan. Do I watch like once in a blue moon? And it has to be either a giant fight that I know everybody, like I know the main eventers and I know the story going into it, if there is one, or it has to be like me bored at 1 a.m. on a Saturday while I'm doing other work. Like that was pretty much the only way you catch me watching MMA in any form. You know what? At one point, I ran back. I was like, "What was UFC 1 like?" And that shit got me. That was fun because they just wrecked each other in because they didn't know what they were doing. Now it's become a science. It's a sport that's evolved, yada yada, and all that. But like, it's just never appealed to me. The idea of fighting like that just never did anything for me. So for me, wrestling, my fandom is based in storylines and storytelling. And I've talked about this 100 times that I'm more invested in the story part of wrestling than I am just the matches for matches sake. As a result, I don't think going to a UFC show, if both ran in whatever town I was in, I would probably go to the WWE show, but not the UFC show the next night. Even if you comped me, I probably wouldn't go. It just doesn't.
Wow, turning down free tickets. Look at you, Joel. Get off your high horse.
I mean, listen, we can't all be Brandon Thurston and buy a ticket and then go to the press conference after. I love you, Brandon. I really do. It just doesn't appeal to me. So I bless you if it does. You know, if UFC and WWE are something you're a fan of, then obviously this merger's for you, and whatever crossover connective tissues occur are going to be very much up your alley. But I can tell you now, for me, it's just another day at the office. And you know, there are people who are upset about what the realities of a merger bring to an office environment. You know, that sucks, but it is kind of unfortunately the way it is. There will be people losing jobs, but they will be able to find jobs elsewhere. So that's where that is. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of conversation yesterday about this merger, and I am just kind of wanting to see what happens next, because now everyone wants to know when Vince McMahon gets kicked out.
I'm very interested in the schedule of all this. I think the way more interesting quote from that ESPN article with Lawrence Epstein was the idea, and Nick Khan touched on this in an interview with Bill Simmons as well, was the idea of UFC and WWE running the same weekend, like the same city. They basically present this package to the city because they're all about, like, the city's paying us to come here nowadays. They're all about that now. So they're going to run the same city. UFC traditionally on Saturday nights, and WWE has now become a Saturday night thing. We saw Money in the Bank. They in Las Vegas, they were going to run Allegiant Stadium, and then it didn't sell very well because UFC was running that same night. UFC owns Las Vegas. That's just the reality of the situation. That was a bad move on the part of WWE, and they had to downgrade where they ended up running that event. Now they're partners. You're not going to see anything like that where they're going to run against each other. And Nick Khan said, you know, Friday night you can have SmackDown. Saturday night you can have UFC. Sunday night you can have WWE. Nick Khan put out there that WWE could potentially move back to Sunday nights if they're running the same city as UFC, because obviously if you're running the same city as your sister company, you're not going to be running the same night. That doesn't make any sense because you're probably going to be running the same arena. So it's very possible because of this, we get WWE Sunday events again. Please don't. That's all I will say. Saturday afternoon, baby. Run that shit on Saturday afternoon.
Let's go. I'm fine with that. Let's do it. Come on. 3 p.m. wrestling. Done by
12.
My dinner.
You got to do 12 p.m. because then you got to shuffle out the WWE stuff and shuffle in the UFC stuff.
Oh, you're talking same venue.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be. I assume it would be same venue. How many cities have like 2 venues that can house like those big events?
But that's the thing. It wouldn't be every single event, right? It would be the majors. So
okay.
So let's take SummerSlam for example, right?
Okay.
Vegas is easy because there's a ton of venues you can run there, right?
Yeah.
You do have T-Mobile, you do have the Grand Garden Arena, you do have Allegiant Stadium if you feel so inclined. New York is another one where you can run the Garden, you can run Brooklyn down the way, you can run UBS, you can run MetLife if you're running a stadium. There are options. You know, there are venues that exist, but I don't think that they're going to be running like Cincinnati. Okay, AEW Dynamite is in Cincinnati. I don't foresee WWE and UFC running in Cincinnati proper, maybe in the Ohio area, but I don't see them running the same city like that in a weekend. A big major town, New York, LA, Vegas, all that, I could see it because the venues are available, but I don't see them running the same venue in the same weekend.
Well, then you got to make sure that travel works out of like, can you get from one event to the next? If you have WWE Saturday afternoon, do they have time after that event ends to get to UFC?
They don't need it. It's fine. No, I agree with you. Again, I go back to what happened with SummerSlam, right? With the group from WWE that went from Allegiant over to T-Mobile for the show, and they had a good time, yada yada. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, I just go back to that.
That was apparently like kind of where a lot of this stuff started. Vince wanted to go to that show. It was McAfee, Vince, Nick Khan, Triple H. I think Stephanie was there as well. Yeah, and like that's where it's like, oh, this is what we can do. This is an inkling of thing, and then a lot of other stuff happened. Obviously,
happier times. Anyway, speaking of happier times, our guest is backstage, and if she's ready, she can give me a thumbs up, and we can get on into it. Rock and roll. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited for this one. So let's go backwards for a second, and let's go back to Super Showdown. This was a Smash Wrestling event. She wasn't featured for the card, and then suddenly she came in, and she went the distance, ran the gamut, won the big one. She is the Smash Wrestling Women's World Champion. She is the one. She is the only. We call her Dream Girl Ellie. Hi, Ellie. How you doing?
Hello. I'm sorry. My dog has to be in this too, apparently.
Oh, that is fine.
Best cameos we have are the ones where the pets join.
Will you stop, please? Can you just...
What is his or her name?
His name's Hero. He's from Big Hero 6.
Oh, nice. Love it.
Yeah. This my big boy. Sorry, this is just gonna happen, I guess.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. We love a good dog cameo. Let's start where Joel kind of mentioned you winning the Smash Women's Championship, defeating friend of the show, enemies of others here on this channel, Shazza McKenzie. How did that night feel for you?
So I don't even know, because I wasn't even supposed to be there. like I think that's the funniest part to me, is I was, ironically, I guess, in Canada at other shows. I had 6 matches in 3 days. So that Sunday I had already wrestled 2 matches, and then I got like a message. They're like, "Hey, we need you to be here." So I literally did my match, left immediately, still in gear, sweating, barely able to breathe. I ran to the car and I drove all the way there, and then like the show had already started, and I was like, "All right, yeah, here we go. This is what's gonna happen." So I walked into Canada not being on the show, and I walked out their women's champion. So,
It's not a bad way to go. For those who don't know, the original match was Shazza McKenzie versus Smash Wrestling World Women's Champion Nikita, and then Nikita had to drop the championship, and it was going to be Shazza versus Silesia Sparks. Silesia Sparks was injured, and so in walks our pal Ellie. And Dream Girl, you walk out with that title. Well, first of all, this is the big question. What's it like beating up Shazza McKenzie? Because I feel like everyone does that now.
So it's so funny, because I had wanted that match for so long. Like, even when she was still in Australia, like, she would come to America and visit and stuff, and I was just like, oh, this is someone I got to beat up. I don't know. She just has like a punchable face, I guess. I don't know what it is about her. But it was a blast. I had so much fun just, punching her in the face.
We love Shazza here. Not everyone here. I guess a little bit of a punchable face. I don't know. I want to be nice. Okay, now we have a cat.
We have a cat too. This is my little babe boy. He does not know personal space. He tries suffocating me at night. Every time we sleep, he'll lay on my throat, put his paws over my face and my nose, like my mouth and my nose, and he just sleeps that way. And I was like, this cat's trying to kill me. But this is just what he does. So
okay, what is the cat's name?
His name is Squirrel.
Okay.
We found him in our backyard, and we thought he was a squirrel initially when we first saw him because of like his colors, and he was like this big. And Hero initially found him and was trying to eat him, so we were just like, oh my gosh, there's a squirrel. Moved Hero away, and then we're like, oh, that's cat, and now we have another cat.
Do they get along?
Oh yeah, they love each other. I have a picture of them from this morning, because we woke up early to watch what we'll get into in a little bit. And they were just like cuddling together, and it was really cute. So they're best buds.
Good on them. Good on them. Cats and dogs getting along. We love to
right?
see it. I want to ask you about your recent experience at AEW. It was Dynamite 200, doing the dark match there, taking on Marina Shafir, Nyla Rose, and Taya Valkyrie. What was that experience like?
Just ignore this dog.
No, let's talk about this.
Wait, no, okay, yes, we have another dog. How
just
many
what
animals do you have, Dream
So
Girl Ellie?
we have 2 dogs and 5 cats.
And they're all gonna make cameos.
Yes.
This is Gizmo. He's a Shih Tzu poodle, and he's 12. And this is what this whole thing is gonna turn into today. It's gonna be
This is much better than wrestling. Let's be honest.
One at a time, just walking in. Hello, baby boy. Okay, you can lay down right here. Okay. Right.
I do love that they are all just like taking turns coming into the shot here. It's like, all right, you've had your time. Get out of here. It's my time.
Mr. Jealous Boy. All right, you guys no, we're not gonna do that. Just lay down. That's all I'm asking. All right, back to the important stuff. Oh, hey, don't be a dick. Go away. Just go lay down. That's all I need from you right now. There you go. Thank you, bud. Okay. I know you asked something about Dynamite, and that's all.
Yes. Yes. How was the experience there? It was a big show for them. Dynamite 200.
It was great. I had done some other matches and stuff for them before at like Universal and in Miami and stuff. So it was really great, like being back there. Everyone is really nice. I mean, like Nyla, Marina, and Tyra were nice until they like beat me up, you know. But no, it was great. There's no one there that like I don't get along with or like have fun with. It was really weird. I walked into catering and Jeff Hardy's just chilling there, and then like RVD was just chilling because I think he either had his first match or it was like he was debuting. But he was like looking for a water, and I had like a water next to me that I wasn't gonna drink, and I was just like, "Oh, do you need this?" And he's like, "Oh, thanks." And he's like, "Did I just manifest this?" And I was like, "Am I just talking to RVD? Like, what is going on?" Like, so that was like, I don't know, it was just really fun. Like, I always have a blast when I'm there, even if I'm getting beat up. But I always have a blast, and it's always so much fun.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna ask the follow-up.
Oh, what was the follow-up?
Oh, no.
Do you want me to ask if you've got any advice from anybody? Talk to any wrestlers, any advice from Tony Khan or any other wrestlers?
Tony always just because he sits at Gorilla, he's always just like, all right, you're alive, all right, cool, you're good, cool. And then he's like, all right, I gotta actually go do a bunch of other things. Because he is running the show. But they basically they kind of just were like, oh, keep going. Like there wasn't anything like I did super wrong or super right, I guess. Like, I don't know. I was saying some really stupid stuff in the ring. Like they were chanting like, oh, we want Nyla. And I was like, no, we don't. No, we don't. No, we don't. Like, we don't want her. And they loved that. Because they're like, bro, that was entertaining. Like you weren't just chilling ringside, just watching your partners get beat up. Like you were still interacting and stuff. So they loved that part, which is great because I say stupid out of pocket things all the time that make no sense. So it's kind of nice. I was like, all right, I didn't get in trouble, so it worked. I
imagine Nyla would definitely enjoy that. She's a troll on Twitter.
Oh, we were going back and forth with everything. I remember I was running at her and I was like, I got it. And she just killed me. And she's like, no, you don't. And I was like, you're right, my bad, bro. Like, my bad. I did not have it. I thought I did, but I did not. So yeah, it was really fun, like going back and forth with her. So
one thing you do have, and that is that Smash Women's title. You're gonna face Silesia Sparks. It's gonna be this Saturday over at Fight Night in London, Ontario.
Yeah.
What's the plan now that you finally get to square off with Silesia?
So I met her at the Can USA tournament thingy a couple months ago. So I did get to see her and see what she does. So I kind of know what to avoid. And basically my new thing because I have been training at the Dark Arts, which is Malachi Black school, and Zelina Vega school, is violence. So my goal is just to be super violent and just, keep my title because I like it. So, just pure violence is what she's getting. So there's no preparing for it. Just pure chaos and violence.
Have you considered being the reluctant champion? I came here to beat someone's ass because they called me, and now I gotta do something.
What I gotta do now. I mean, I feel like that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I was like, all right, well, I guess she never got her match, but like, that's a you problem. That's not my problem. Like, I'm gonna still be champion. Like, I did what I needed to do. I'm champion. You're not. I'm gonna keep it that way.
What is it like training with Malachi and Zelina at their school? I believe it's like relatively new. They just kind of they're still kind of finding their footing with everything. But so what is it like being there?
We've been there for about 2 months, and he's been only training like active wrestlers right now, just so he can get his footing. Sorry, another cat just walked up. So he's actually opening it today to like fans and up and coming wrestlers who want to be actual wrestlers and stuff. So he's gonna open it up for a open house today, so then he can start like normal classes. But we've been with him for about 2 months, and it's so crazy because like you think with him like you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna learn all these crazy spots and moves and everything, but like we worked on like leg picks and just violence. That's all it's out of this. And it's so crazy that he cares more about wrestling than he's like, it's not just wrestling. He's like, there's so much psychology and like just so much that goes into where it's not just like, oh, I'm gonna go have a match. Like he has so much. He's so smart. Like she is too. Like they're geniuses. When it comes to like different things, again, like he's like, there's 18,000 different ways to leg pick someone, and he's like, and I'll show you all of them if you want. Like, and like his big thing is like making us athletes. So like we work out for 2 hours with him. He has like nutrition for us. He has all these things to help us not just become better like wrestlers, but become better athletes too, which is really cool that he wants every aspect to get better, not just like, all right, let's go see you do a Canadian Destroyer. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm very fascinated by this because I've listened to a lot of Malachi Black interviews, and he's talked about what he wants to do with the school and everything. And so everything you're saying is stuff that I've heard him say. So to now hear he's putting it in practice from somebody who has firsthand experience is really like good on him and really cool to me that this is the way he's going. I know like there's some, and you can speak to this a little bit more if you'd like, but like there's you mentioned leg picks. There's like striking classes that he likes to do. He's obviously big on the striking, but it's very broken down into not just wrestling, but also a little like Muay Thai MMA training and stuff at the school.
So
is that
like
correct?
He's basically has it open 7 days a week, but like Mondays and Tuesdays are trainings from like 6 to 10, where it's usually 2 hours of training and 2 hours of like working out because he is strength and conditioning. So the ring is in a gym too. Like he has this whole place set up, and then there's like open ring where you can just work on things that you want to work on, like with him and stuff. Like he'll help you get ideas and stuff. He does promos, and then like Saturdays his Muay Thai coach actually comes in the mornings and stuff and teaches Muay Thai. And then like Fridays he does like a recovery thing with like a bunch of stretches and like spine decompression stuff for like just recovering your body from beating it up all week and then going to shows on weekends and stuff. So like he does all these things to just again help us become better athletes all around. So like we Orion and I, we went on Friday to the recovery class, and we like walked out there with like so much energy, and like we were there for 3.5, like 4 hours or something, and we walked out with so much energy because the recovery classes, it's still a workout, but it's also like it's just getting blood flowing a little bit to places without like wearing yourself out. And it was the craziest thing. I was just like, how am I just learning these things? Like this is such a natural thing. Be like, oh yeah, I should probably stretch. And that's his thing too, is like we get there like 30 minutes early, and he's like, you're gonna stretch, you're gonna foam roll, you're gonna do all these things to like warm up your body, because he's like, I'll be damned if you're going to get hurt doing training or working out or something. He's like, injuries are bound to happen, but he's like, he doesn't want them to happen at a school. You know what I mean?
As we start to wind down, I want to ask you about a certain Netflix series that you have appeared in, Wrestlers. Let's talk about that.
I woke up at 7 o'clock this morning and I've been watching it
all right.
morning.
So what was the experience like? You had cameras following you around all the time? Like, talk about it.
In the beginning, the worst... Okay, so have you guys seen The Office?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I feel like you guys know where I'm about to go with this. You know Jim? Whenever something crazy would happen, he just goes, and he stares at the camera. So I did that the whole time they were filming. Because it's wrestling. You're gonna hear some crazy shit. You know what I mean? And you're just like, all right, well, what? So, but when they first got there, they're like, all right, don't acknowledge the cameras at all unless we're doing like a one-on-one interview. And I was like, all right, cool, easy. And then we'd be in the locker room and some crazy stuff would be said. I'm just like, did y'all hear this? Did y'all hear this too? So like towards the end, it's really cool because like with Greg, who's like the producer and stuff, like we actually got to know the people, and it sounds crazy to say we got to know the people behind the cameras because that's what they're doing for us. But like we got to see people, and towards the end, like these guys were our friends. Like it wasn't like, oh my god, these cameras are following us. I gotta be someone I'm not, because that's one, not what they don't want, but two, it's just like, all right, these my friends are here. Let me just hang out with my friends. You know what I mean? But I think we're about to start episode 4. Like, and I think there's 7 episodes. I think they're 58 minutes long. So we're either on like episode 3 or 4 right now. But I think the funniest part is we're watching it and we're just like, were we here for this? Oh, I'm right there. That's me right there. Like watching myself on TV, but not on TV. Because like when I have my matches, obviously I know I'm going to see myself. But like there was one instance, I'm not going to like ruin the show, but we were talking to Al Snow, Orion and I were, and I didn't even know that this was going to be on the show. Like I have nothing. I'm watching it for the first time with everybody else too. So we're watching it and we're like, oh wait, that's us. And the craziest part is I got really short hair. I have a shaved head here now, but like I had a whole head of hair. It was a completely different color. And I was like, this was a year ago. I'm like, this is not, it's so crazy. And like some things, you'll see someone got arrested and I didn't even know about this stuff. Like they kept it like from everybody, I guess. Or I just don't pay attention enough. It's one or the other. But I think it's really cool because like I get to see behind the scenes of like my friends too. Like, yeah, I know Haley J works with her mom, but like I didn't know to what extent. Like I didn't know all these things that happened to Haley or to Maria or to all my like my friends and stuff, because like we don't just sit down and be like, oh yeah, so tell me about your childhood trauma. Like that's just, you know what I mean? Like that's not a normal Tuesday night. Like so it's really cool getting to watch all these things and seeing everyone like behind the scenes. So it aired at like 3 o'clock this morning, so we've been up since 7, but it's on Netflix. It's called Wrestlers. And everyone has to go watch it now because I don't know, I'm in it. I don't know.
It's a wrestling documentary, and
right?
I feel like I assume everyone here is a wrestling fan. Otherwise, you know, maybe we're just entertaining enough.
I mean, if you just stumbled upon this, hey guys, go watch this.
Yeah, they're like bring more animals out. Where's the cats and dogs? Bring them back.
Pay for the animals. I think the funniest part is like the first episode, 5 minutes in, is me just swearing because I did this. I was doing a promo and I messed it up, and I'm gonna swear real quickly on here, if that's okay. Can I swear real quickly?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cool. And I'm like doing this promo, and I messed it up, and I went, "Fuck me!" And I was like, "Yo, we're 2 minutes into this show. Can they not get me swearing?" And I was like, "Of course, they couldn't get the good promo they got. They got the one of me messing up." And I was like, "Damn, man!" Like, so I was like, "All right, well, now we're on to something. We're gonna see how it goes." So.
You know you've made it on reality television when you're like the edit got me, and they did this to me when there was such a better take or a better scene that they could have gotten.
I'm like, yo, you guys used that one. I'm like, what about the promo I did 5 seconds later where I just knocked it out of the park and everything. So yeah, it's really funny. It's really entertaining, and it's sad. Because I'm gonna put him over because I love him to death. Brian Kennison, he is like a producer and a cameraman, and he's one of the commentators. He does so much stuff behind the scenes, and you'll see in the docuseries that he doesn't get treated with the respect that he deserves from like anyone. I'll say from Matt Jones. Matt Jones does not treat him the way that he should be for what he's doing. Because this dude's working like 60 hours a week. He's not getting to see his kid because he's going to wrestling shows, and it's just like he's a great dude, and he cares so much, and he wants the best for everybody. And like he doesn't, I don't want to say he doesn't care at what expense, because like his kid is an expense and stuff, but like he puts wrestling at this top priority, and then everyone just walks all over him. So like I made sure as soon as I saw it to text him, and I was like, hey, like I love you and I appreciate everything you do, because like I don't think he hears it enough. So I hope that when this comes out, people realize all the stuff that he does. Like all the graphics you see, he's working 20-25 hours a week just on those. Like that's not including like with the show, with the pre-tapes, with the comment, like that doesn't include all the other stuff he's doing, but he just doesn't get the recognition he deserves, and I hope he gets it now. So that's my little stool I'm stepping on right now, is love Brian Kennison and treat him with all the love and give him all the hugs. If he likes hugs. If not, then don't give him hugs. But you know.
That's the best way to do it. Send your friends flowers, not literally, but sometimes just figuratively.
Yeah, just figuratively. If he doesn't like them literally, don't give them to him.
That's fine. Ellie, we want to thank you so much for your time. The Smash Women's Wrestling Champion. This Saturday, September 16th at Fight Night, she's going to be facing Silesia Sparks, defending that title at the Western Fair in London, Ontario. Eric Redbeard's also scheduled to be there. Von Vertigo, Tabernacle Team.
Von Vertigo.
And I think I was told you're going to also appear at the fair on the shows on Friday and Sunday. Is that right?
Yes.
There we go. Wonderful.
I fly out tomorrow.
Yay! Smash-wrestling.com has all of your information, including where to get tickets. If you have admission to the Western Fair, the admission is included for Fight Night. So go check that out. Dream Girl Ellie, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Had a wonderful time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you to all your pets as well.
Right, little cameos.
Safe travels. Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you.
There you go, everybody. Dream Girl Ellie and her Congo line of animals joining us on the show. That was fantastic. That was the conversation was great, but anytime we can just get random animal cameos and just one after the other like that, big fan of that. We need more wrestlers who just have a bunch of animals to come on this show.
I agree. And like I was going to say, worth the wait. And I do think that was very much worth the wait for Ellie. She was wonderful. She's a lot of fun to talk to. And hopefully if you're in London, Ontario or the surrounding area, you'll go check out Smash Wrestling and go check out Fight Night on Saturday, September the 16th. I was told Redbeard's coming. So there you go. Eric Redbeard. He's scheduled for a match. He's going to beat up on some people, I think.
He worked some other show not too long ago. So he is like doing bookings and stuff. So hopefully, he's there and doing well after the month almost now, couple weeks that he's had. But I know he did work a show recently. Yeah.
So it's good. It's good to see him out and doing his thing. So go check that out if you have the opportunity. Go check out Smash Wrestling because they're putting on some good stuff. And we're meeting their champions and we're meeting their people. And I got to tell you, if they keep bringing animals onto their interviews, they're going to become our favorite interviews to do.
Well, Ellie's going to win. Everybody who appears on the show wins, right? Isn't that the gimmick?
That's true. Oh my!
There's nothing to worry about.
I don't, except for Kevin. Kevin Bennett lost.
Well, yeah, what can you do? Sometimes it happens.
You could argue he was due. not us, not our thing, him, because he had been like 1,500 days as champion by that point.
Yeah.
He was getting into that bloodline territory where people are like, I'm sick of this championship. So I get it. I get it, guys. Anyway, thanks to Dream Girl Ellie, and thank you, of course, to Smash Wrestling for sending her over to talk to us this morning. Is a good time. Let's continue on a little bit. We were talking merger. We were talking areas of opportunity for potential crossover between UFC, WWE. You talked about certain venues that might play to both UFC and WWE in a night. I said I don't see them doing the same venue in a night over 2 nights potentially. Do one on Saturday, one on Sunday, but I'm like you. I don't want to see a Sunday night WWE pay-per-view anymore. I'm just kind of over it. And UFC ran Saturday first, in the grand scheme of things. So I feel like they would probably get precedence. What's the ticketing this discrepancy? Like what's the price in tickets for a UFC event versus a WWE event?
It obviously depends on the UFC. Like anything, like it depends on the market. I'm sure it depends on sort of the fight and everything. Like a McGregor fight, whenever he's coming back, they're going to price those tickets a little bit higher than they're going to price whatever fight is coming up. I mean, I can look up the UFC kind of event list here when it comes to tickets on the schedule, because their next big show they just had one, so their next big show probably would be until October. October is UFC 294, October 21st. Makachev against Oliveira 2. Oh, that's in Abu Dhabi, so it's tough to get it. Okay, so here you go. November 11th. This is a big show. John Jones against Stipe Miocic. This is a big show. That's at MSG. I imagine tickets are pretty high priced on that. And if I look at Ticketmaster to see what the current going rate for tickets is, yes, accept and continue. $864 is the cheapest right now. So
is that resale?
Yeah, that's a resale.
Okay, good. I was gonna say, holy crap, they got to be sold out.
Okay, well, non-resale, the cheapest is $917. So
oh no, where is that sitting?
That's Upper Deck. That's in the 200s. That's in the 200s. So
it's funny because like the valuations for WWE versus UFC are so vastly different. And like the live event gates for UFC versus WWE, we don't necessarily, well, until now that it's publicly traded, we might actually see live gate details for UFC, but like
they do gates for UFC.
Do they? Because typically,
I used to have to report on them. So here you go, UFC 292, which was just recently. That was in August. That was Aljamain Sterling against Sean O'Malley. That was at TD Garden, Boston. 7.2 million was the gate.
Okay. And I just wonder because, WWE is running a pay-per-view on any given weekend and yada, yada. What's the gate like? We're getting a lot of like, this is the highest gate they've ever, ran ever in this venue, yada, yada. So I'm interested to see what the difference is, because does one get a little bit ahead of the other? And if that's the case, then you're going to give the one that makes more money the bigger opportunity, right?
UFC is going to draw bigger gates. Their tickets are they're higher priced because when it comes to UFC, you're not getting the same people every show. You know what I mean? Like they are events, they are spectacles in that way. And Nick Khan talked about this on the Bill Simmons podcast of just like the name UFC kind of sells. Like when sometimes they just announce a show, it's like, hey, UFC 295 coming here. Like you don't always know what the main event might be. You're just kind of trusting that like we're gonna get a good main event out of this. WWE, same manner in like a Rumble or a Mania. Like you don't know what the main event is when WrestleMania tickets go on sale. You're just trusting the brand WrestleMania to buy that ticket. But WWE Payback, you ain't trusted the brand of like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna buy my tickets, hope for the best type of thing. Oh, some people want to wait until there's like a main event actually announced for that. UFC, a lot of times it is like, hey, we're trusting the brand, no matter who we're putting out there, we're gonna deliver on that. UFC is a live event spectacle. They've done a great job over decades, like really building and selling just the moments of these fights. And I know you're a storyline guy. Joel, and like there's no, weekly thread when it comes to UFC storylines, but there's obviously real personal threads when it comes to UFC storylines. And Sean O'Malley had never fought for a title before he won the title, and he ended up winning, and now he's one of the biggest stars in the companies, but he just got built up over the years with wins, with just his overall personality. Sean Strickland, who beat Adesanya this past weekend, he was a huge underdog. It was, I think, one of the biggest underdogs in UFC history going into this fight. And he suffered 2 losses last year. People were like, why is this guy even? He's kind of a garbage human being, which doesn't help. But people are like, why is he fighting for the title? He hasn't earned it and everything. He went in there and he put on one of the best performances I've ever seen in a title fight. Completely shut down everything Adesanya did. And that's the draw to UFC, is you just don't know what you're going to see at these things. And whether it's the main event or the first fight, you might see just some cool highlight moment, and people want to go and they want to see this. And they price their tickets pretty high on this. I do think that their consumer base, they're still selling pay-per-views. They're still on monthly pay-per-views at $70 a pop on top of ESPN Plus subscription. Their customer base is more of the higher priced people who can afford to spend that money. WWE's customer base is smaller. And I do think that's where there is not the fan crossover that they're hoping for. Wrestling fans will spend a lot of money on this stuff. Wrestling fans ain't going to spend $1,000 for a nosebleed ticket for WWE No Mercy. Sorry, that's NXT event. I mean, Fastlane, whatever the next one coming up. They ain't spending $1,000 on a nosebleed ticket for that show.
So I'm thinking about this. You know how the comment makes sense in this way. WWE is that family product, right? They make a ton of money on the merch stands. Families come out, they all show up and do the concessions, and it's like going to the circus, yada yada. But eventually that kid that comes at 13, maybe by 17, 18, isn't really enjoying the way that the fighting is going on. And then they're going to see UFC branded to them through a cross-promoted TKO thing and say, oh, these guys, they beat each other up. My testosterone's kicking in. I want to see this. I think that's where the crossover begins. The idea is that crossover is not fluid. It's more the young families get the WWE product. The single people, or just the I don't need to tell you what type of people are watching UFC. These are people who generally like to watch the fights. That's okay. They will get into it, and they might just not, stick around the wrestling, or they will. Some will. And then the hope is that those people go off, they have a family, and guess what? The family comes right back to the wrestling, and it's a cyclical journey. And I wouldn't be surprised. I saw in the chat someone mentioning that WrestleTix had pointed out, and I have it up here, that UFC 295, that show you were just talking about at MSG, has the potential to hit a $20 million gate. When they debuted at MSG, it was their highest gate was 17.7 million. So there is potential there. That's a big gate.
Their MSG shows are big. The first MSG show, Conor McGregor headlined against, was that the first MSG show?
205 the first, at least pay-per-view, at least big MSG show.
Then that was their first one. I think that was McGregor. Yeah, I'm terrible with it. I can name all the. It was McGregor and Alvarez, which was a huge show. And then they try to load up basically every MSG show. John Jones Nia Jax is a huge fight. That's when I talk about fights that I'm interested in, that's one of them. That's a big fight in the division. John Jones might be the best to ever do it. Miocic is gonna test him in certain ways. But yeah, that's a big fight. I think the crossover can come, like you said, and I think there's also some crossover. So how I got into UFC was Ken Shamrock. I was a wrestling fan. I saw Ken Shamrock. I was like, oh, he did UFC. Let me go check this out. It didn't appeal to me immediately, especially those old UFCs where there were no rules. I was a little bit smaller, a little younger, I should say. Younger, I was like, oh, I don't really quite like this. Then I started watching kind of the newer stuff, but I watched Tito Ortiz and Ken Shamrock. That was the first fight that I watched, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I kind of kept up with a little bit. But what actually sold me was Matt Hughes against Royce Gracie. And I didn't know anything about these guys, right? I'm just watching these video packages. they sold the shit out of this fight. Hoist Gracie seemed like the biggest deal in the world in this fight. And he was way past his pride. And like now I understand that like this was a squash match. But for someone like me just watching this, they sold it so well. If Hoist Gracie come like, this is my return, this is my house, I'm coming in here. Matt Hughes, they're putting him up on this big pedestal of like the most dominant champion in the current era. Hoist Gracie, absolute legend who tapped out everybody, never defeated. I was like, damn, I'm interested in this. Again, complete squash match, complete mismatch. Probably never should have been booked if we're being honest. But they are so good at selling these fights through these video packages. And this is something that I think wrestling should do just a little bit more of. This is something I wanted with Danielson and Okada. It's like, you don't need a weekly storyline with these guys. Just go out there and sell the shit out of like how good these people are and make people interested in that way. So yeah, like there's crossover in that of, I think people can see like a Ronda Rousey, a Brock Lesnar. Nick Khan mentioned UFC fighters who might be done with UFC coming over to WWE. Israel Adesanya has spoken at length of how he wants to do maybe some WWE after his UFC run is over. Conor McGregor teases it like every month when he's trying to make headlines and stuff. They might see those people in WWE and then like, oh, where are they from? Let me check that out. And then go over there. I think they'll have an easier time converting WWE fans to UFC fans than they will UFC fans to WWE, because a lot of people in our chat are mentioning like, yeah, most UFC fans just don't like wrestling. And again, they go to the fake stuff. They want people, and Board Dude kind of says it like, they want to watch like striking and stuff. They don't like all the grappling and everything. And wrestling, it's gone to a striking base, but look, at the end of the day, wrestling is a performance, and UFC is legit punching people in the face, trying to knock each other unconscious.
Seeing a report that Frank Riddick is going to be leaving WWE.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Frank's been there a while. Is that the first cost synergy deal here?
Frank is interesting, and I know that. Listen, if you want to get the real download about the Frank Riddick Chronicles, WrestleNomics will probably do it. Probably behind their paywall, because that's what they're doing now. Is the first show of the month is free, but everything else it's $5. Just like Fightful Select, best $5 in the wrestling numbers universe is WrestleNomics. But anyway, Frank Riddick was someone who was called upon once upon a time to like be interim not CEO. Was it CEO? He's been an interim, guy, and he's been around WWE for a very, very long time. So that's a very interesting name to be departing the company.
Yeah. Again, is this part of the cost synergy with this? Like, or is he just like, all right, merger went through, I got my bonus, deuces.
Very would be that. Honestly, if I'm in that position, probably would take the money and run. There's a lot going on. We're gonna find out as the days go by with this merger, what it means, what it doesn't mean. But let's talk about someone else merging their way onto traffic, and that's Becky Lynch going to Tuesday nights, winning herself the NXT Women's Championship. Oh my goodness! Did you expect this?
We talked about this match and the booking and how they would book it, right? Of like, oh, does she need to lose the title this quickly? But do you want to give Becky a loss? I thought Becky would be fine to take a loss if WrestleMania is the end game with Rhea. I thought it was okay. I thought it would do more for Stratton, and maybe Becky will eventually take the loss. And I think what we kind of ended up, at least what I settled on, was I'm fine if Becky wins the title, but it can't be a Charlotte situation of, hey, let me win the title and then not return this favor. Like, let me lose it in a triple threat match. I don't think that benefits anybody. I'm cool with Becky winning the title. Hey, you get the ratings boost, I assume, out of it. You get the boost in the coming weeks as she's on the show, where they have the rematch, whether it's at No Mercy or whether it's Title Tuesday when they're up against AEW. Whenever they do the rematch, if they do the rematch, but she's got to return it and lose the rematch and actually put Tiffany or whoever. Maybe it's not Tiffany, because I think Tiffany's pretty made. Like, that's my thought on it. I think Tiffany is good and pretty made on this brand. And maybe they feel like, Tiffany's fine. Like, let's make somebody else in this situation. Maybe it's Roxanne. Maybe that's who Becky wants to put over. But I think she's got to return and actually put someone over in a singles match, not or if they do a triple threat, she's got to take the pin. We talked about with the New Day stuff. New Day, they did a 4-way, sure, but New Day at least took the pin in that match.
I'm just thinking over the options, and they announced the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament is coming back. I largely agree with you. Tiffany Stratton's maid, does she need the title back? At the same time, if they do a rematch at No Mercy and she loses again, what does that do to Tiffany Stratton and her momentum? Is this it? How does she build up again? Because in my eyes, the winner of the NXT Breakout Tournament is potentially the one to dethrone Becky Lynch at, say, Deadline, assuming that's happening in December, which is a long time from now. That's still several months away, but at least No Mercy is the end of this month. October will probably bring Halloween Havoc. November is usually nothing. But either way, Deadline was like early December last year. So it could be late November, early December, regardless. That could be when I see Becky dropping the NXT Women's Championship. But we got a little bit of time to get there because there's weekly Tuesdays, and Dominic Mysterio is making all the trips. Is Becky Lynch going to want to do or be available to do the same?
When it comes to Tiffany and her getting it back, not getting it back, I think if she doesn't get it back, what's next for her is probably just main roster. Like, she's, we got a super chat from Kai who says, for the price of the super chat, you can join Fightful. Becky winning is great. Tiffany can go to the main roster now. She's progressed so fast. I don't know if she's going to go up yet. Yeah, I think there's money in a rematch with Becky, but she certainly has all the qualities you would want for a main roster talent. She's only been doing this for like 2 years. Like, she has progressed very fast, and we've basically seen her progression from the first match on NXT to where she's at now. There's still stuff she can learn, still stuff she can improve on. That's the case for any wrestler. But when she's only been doing this for 2 years, she has the thing that every wrestler dreams of having, and that is just the it factor, the charisma factor, the connection, to where you see Tiffany Stratton, she speaks, whatever it might be, you're drawn to her. You were just drawn to what she does. And the fact that she is already this good in the ring and will continue to get better as she figures things out and works in front of bigger crowds is good for her. And that's why I do like somebody like Becky coming down, is like, yeah, they're still working in front of the Performance Center people. But if you just get the opportunity to work with Becky, be in the ring with Becky, talk to Becky backstage and things like that, she can prepare you for, like, yeah, this is one thing. Here's what you're going to get coming up here. Like, that's nothing but good things. And the fact that they're giving Tiffany Stratton this early, or this opportunity this early, shows they probably got an idea that they have longer term plans for her, or at least see her as the long term plans. You never know how things are going to work out, but they at least see that in her, of like, yeah, we should probably invest a little in her.
Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green. I'll still stick with that.
Oh, that's fun. I love it. Do you want to put Tiffany in that role as the main roster thing? I think she can kind of stand out on her own. But Tiffany and Chelsea interactions would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think necessarily they need to team up, but I think the interactions will be fun. I don't know where Tiffany makes sense. You can put her on SmackDown right now. The champion is Io Sky, but there's the match versus Asuka. Basically, like, that tie up is what? Asuka, Charlotte, and Io Sky. And then Bianca eventually comes back in a little while. Where does she play into this? Does Tiffany fit into that? Or does she fit into the Women's World Championship picture on Raw, where Rhea Ripley is a dominating force, and we just reintroduced Nia Jax? We'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's also, part of the larger concern is where does someone like Tiffany fit in? And also, you can bring her on to main roster, but, most of the time people are not super aware of your abilities in the ring because they're not necessarily watching NXT. They've seen Tiffany a few times, which I really appreciate the fact that Tiffany Stratton has at least appeared on programming, putting over her talents and her shows and her match. But in terms of in-ring and watching her develop or be on screen in front of us wrestling a match, hasn't really been seen yet. So there will have to be some sort of rise to the Tiffany Stratton character on TV as a wrestler.
Yeah, I agree with that we're going to have to see I don't know about depth with Tiffany, but she's gonna have to play to a bigger audience. But I think she's fully prepared to do that. I think she's again, she has the it factor, the star quality that every wrestler wants immediately that not many wrestlers have.
Are we going to be seeing NXT champion Lola Vice cashing in on Becky Lynch and winning the big one?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think
Well,
so.
I don't know who's going to win that tournament. That breakout tournament is not, obviously no one's been announced yet because it's quote coming soon. I assume they're trying to just figure it out themselves. But I have to guess that unless it's Lyra Valkyria and they do a whole respect showdown, that would be the next champion. Have Lyra get the rub from Becky Lynch. Is that where you go?
Could be. I would like to see the tournament and the brackets and everything if that's where they decide to go with it. I don't know. I think someone else could use that more than her.
I wouldn't put her in the tournament.
Yeah.
Lyra Valkyria. I'm just more saying potential opponents for Becky, because if we do have to get all the way to deadline with this, then we got a little while to go. So I've said this before. I will say it again. It really does feel to me like putting the title on Becky Lynch on NXT is very much a play for a larger media rights fee number for NXT, specifically because someone has said, we're not giving you a ton for Raw or for SmackDown. I don't know. But if Raw and NXT are a package deal, because that's traditionally where they've landed with NBC Universal, then I feel like someone has decided to make the play for NXT being a much more valuable proposition for whoever picks them up. I don't know if you agree or disagree, but after last night, it feels to me much more of a probability that that's what they're after.
I think that is certainly a factor on this. I don't want to completely dismiss it. Like, no, they don't care about that. Obviously, they care about the media rights stuff. The fact that they're talking, they're saying all the right things. Like, we feel confident. We got a lot of offers on the table. We've talking to a lot of people and stuff. The fact that they don't have any deal done right now does say a little bit that they are probably not getting what they were hoping for, what they were searching for, and they're waiting for things to kind of play out on this. The Raw rating up against Monday Night Football doesn't speak too great to them. I think that was a little bit of an anomaly just because people were very invested in Aaron Rodgers coming to New York, and then that only lasted 4 plays anyway. But then they were still invested in the game itself because it was still a competitive game. I think next week will be a little bit more telling because next week I'm pretty sure it's like the Panthers and the Saints. And look, I'm a Panthers fan. I can say this team sucks, and that game probably isn't going to be very good. Like, that is not an appealing game to me as a Panthers fan. I'm like, why is this game on Monday Night Football? This should be 1:00 Sunday, like pretty much every other Panthers game will be. Good.
Saints and Panthers at 7:15 on ESPN. Browns and Steelers on ABC at 8:15.
What? They're doing 2 Monday Night Football games next week?
2 on the 18th and the 25th. And then everywhere else. Week 14 is also another one. That's 2.
Oh, sure.
This is on SI.
Okay. Yeah, I see it. Well, okay. Well, look, the ABC game is going to take precedent. That's hilarious, by the way, that I'm a Panthers fan. My wife is a Browns fan, and not anymore because they have a sexual assault person as their quarterback now, so she cares less about them. But they're both playing on Monday Night Football, which is typically reserved for one team, and they decide to put 2 of them on the same night. And then there's wrestling on this night as well. That's so weird. Well, the Browns and the Steelers are going to draw on ABC. This doesn't help WWE now that I've been alerted to this. I thought it was just going to be Panthers and Saints. I'm like, yeah, nobody gives a shit about this game. Browns and Steelers will draw a little bit, especially being on ABC. That'll draw something. So, yeah, WWE might take another car wash in the ratings next week.
Whoops.
I
mean, yeah, it's so... The Monday Night Football debate with ratings and everything is always very interesting to me. I feel like it's always just been... I want to see the GVR numbers with WWE during the during the football season. Same thing. I say the same thing with all the other pro sports that run against football. I'd love to see Impact's regular +5, +3, +7 out of order, that is, because now the Thursday Night Football will start being a thing. The 20,000 million people that watch Impact Wrestling, you can't prove it. They're going to start watching football instead, and then the number is going to be more like 2.78 million instead of 5.7. You can't prove this. Higher number than it would normally be. Please watch Impact Wrestling and then watch the post show on Fightful.
I think more people watch the post show than watch the actual show.
In some weeks, yes. Impact 1000 is this Thursday, and they're doing it over 2 weeks, so we're going to be talking about that. That's fun. So go watch that, please.
Yeah, that'd be good. Becky, it's so back to the media rights thing. Becky, it's definitely a play. Like Dominic was a play for that. I think when they had Seth, it was part of that. I think it's foolish to think that it's not a factor in all of this. But I also think that they are trying to treat it like a third brand, and they've always tried to treat it like a third brand, except when AEW was beating them, and then they tried to claim it was developmental. But we know that wasn't the actual truth of this. They've always tried to, because Triple H loves NXT, and Triple H has put a lot into this. And now that he's gotten more power over the last year on the creative side, but then it got pulled back. But now that he has gotten to where he's gotten, he wants to put a lot of stock in that. And so that's why we're seeing these people go down there. I also think the wrestlers like doing it for the most part. They like going down there and working that kind of smaller environment, looking at the younger generation, look who's up and coming, and giving their feedback and everything. So I think there are a lot of factors at play. It'd be foolish to say that, it has nothing to do with ratings and media rights, because clearly it does. If it didn't, you would just stick as developmental stuff. You wouldn't need, hey, here's Becky Lynch. Hey, here's Dominic Mysterio and Judgment Day. You wouldn't need them if it had nothing to do with it. You put them on there because you want that boosted. You want that to look better. Be like, hey, Raw's doing this, which were some of the best numbers they've been doing until the last couple of weeks, and certainly this week. NXT is also doing this. Like you said, Joel, you get them together, you're getting this across 2 nights. And platforms might look at that and be like, hey, that's not bad. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, you take a look at how they perform in the tops of the cables, the cable ratings war system, whatever you want to talk about. Collision is the same conversation that goes on and on and on. And we're not here to talk about ratings and the numbers specifically, but the idea here being that as long as they finish in the top blank, then they will be happy over at Warner Brothers in terms of the Collision, the numbers. Well, just because you're not seeing, 8,000 800,000 like we did on the first episode. Brain is not numbering today, okay? Or any day. I'm not a mathematician. But the point being that just because you're not seeing the week 1 number, that doesn't mean they're not finding success in other ways. So it really does come down to how you're faring versus your competition, because competition is different every single night. And as a result, your results are going to be different every single night. Becky comes back. Becky wins the NXT Women's Championship. Part of this is also, in terms of you want to talk about competition last night, don't expect a big number out of this one. And I know people are going to get weird, but the MTV VMAs were on last night. And that was
no one gives a shit about that.
You want to talk about people watching that Taylor Swift moment with all of NSYNC? That was a huge thing. You had
Taylor Swift is a draw. The rest of the shit no one cares about.
That's fine. Selena Gomez was there. People were watching that. There was the whole Megan Thee Stallion and Justin Timberlake had a fight that wasn't really a fight, that everyone thought was something that turned into, that was actually a very nice conversation about wanting to meet each other and for real and not just in crossing. There were a lot of storylines coming out of that, so I enjoyed that. But no, the VMAs do still play a bit of a role, not a pivotal one, but they're still involved in the numbers that will play into the NXT numbers. That being said, Becky wins. Now she has to hypothetically show up weekly. What's up?
VMAs last year, 2022, it was on about 18 different networks, and it drew 3.9 million viewers. Again, this was on MTV, VH1, CW, Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, literally on any Paramount network. It was on this show. Yes, okay, 3.9 million is what it was at last year. I don't know if this is good. I guess it's fine.
Seems pretty good. You're not going to get like, 14.8. Again, this is why it's interesting. I think you and I are very used to looking at sports ratings versus entertainment ratings.
I didn't even know this show was on last night. I only found out because I follow Taylor Swift stuff, and like everyone's like, "Oh, Taylor's gonna be at the VMAs." Like, "Oh, okay, cool. The VMAs are on. Fantastic." Like, I didn't even know this was a thing until literally a couple hours before it started. Oh, like, I'm old. I get it. I don't watch that stuff anymore like I used to. I assume it will probably do better than I think it will. Yeah, I get my boomer is showing. I completely understand. MTV doesn't show music videos anymore. Isn't that that's the gimmick? So like I don't know any of these music videos. I know Taylor Swift music videos. That's it. Like, oh, Nicki Minaj debuted a new song. All
That
right.
was the
Like
thing. Telling you.
look, when the MTV Video Music Award ratings come out that they had to air on 18 networks to get the ratings way up there, then I'll admit that I was wrong about people caring or not. I'm sure they still do. They still do a fine number, 3.9 million last year.
There we go. It'll be 4.2 this year. Redmond Survivor.
18 networks.
They've got this. MTV should get back in the wrestling business.
WSX ruled.
It should be WSX, and also they should do a WWE. The NXT should be on MTV. There you go.
Wrestling Society X ruled.
It did. We watched it for a few weeks over on twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. We still have that, by the way. It exists. Please.
I don't remember that at all. I didn't do that. Was I part of that?
I think you were part of it for one episode, and then you kind of gave up on it.
I disagree. I don't think I was part of it at all.
At all? It's a fever dream.
Yeah.
Do you remember how we
great,
fight? You remember how we had to fight to get that channel?
Not really. No, I thought I just asked and we just got it. I don't remember fighting at all.
No, our boss was afraid of getting kicked off YouTube because he thought that Dr. Disrespect was just like us. And the story of Dr. Disrespect and Twitch and YouTube, he thought that was going to happen to Fightful.
Oh, I don't remember any of these conversations, Joel.
Oh, well then. Must have been the fever dream.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like my memory sucks. I'm going to be honest. Like my memory is awful.
What'd you have for breakfast?
Oatmeal.
There you go. See, it's not so bad.
Yeah, I can maybe remember like hours ago. You asked me to remember like more than 24 hours. Absolutely not.
It's game over. I get it. Anyway, let's move on. Speaking of fever dreams, Monday evening, maybe Tuesday morning if you're waking up and watching the news, Nia Jax returns to WWE. She's the first big return under the non-hiring freeze, whatever this is, and she's back. What were your immediate thoughts to Nia Jax coming back to WWE?
Good for her.
Hope she's getting paid.
I don't have any issues with Nia Jax. I never met Nia Jax. I think there's a place for Nia Jax in WWE. She fills a void that a lot of wrestlers just can't fill with her size, with her size and strength. Like there aren't many people. She's not like most girls. So she fills that role of the monster heel. She fills that role. Like, good on her. I have no issue with it. It is fine. Do I think they should utilize other people over her? Probably. But she fills a role. She draws a reaction. Maybe it's not the reaction. Well, it is the reaction they want. As long as people aren't tuning out, then okay. Her coworkers defend her when it comes to injuring people and things like that. So that's like, if they're fine with it and they feel comfortable working with her, cool. I hope we don't see any type of injuries, except for anybody who steps in the ring. I'm fine people getting a job, and if she's there and she wants to do it, good on her.
Yeah, you know what? There's a part of me that agrees because she has a brand. She has people that that like her. She actually comes off quite likable in interviews, so I will say that.
She does. Yeah, she legitimately does. She did try to like stir some shit up on Twitter a few times. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if people are like trolling with that, or she has some stuff I don't agree with, certainly. But Yeah, whenever I listen to our interviews, I'm like, she seems like a decent person.
Yeah, Lena seems fine. King of the North is just like very late, but I know Troll Pro popped audibly for Nia Jax's return because he's a sicko. So let me tell you where I found out about Nia Jax's return. It was about 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning because, buddy, I fell asleep before the main event of Monday Night Raw.
Wow.
I was pooped.
Joel does not support women's wrestling. Fell asleep before the main event.
I went back and watched it. I did watch the whole thing. The match itself between Raquel Rodriguez and Rhea Ripley was actually pretty okay. Like there was some good stuff going on there. And then they did the finish they did, and Nia's back. And you know what? Good on Nia. What I loved, by the way, when she came back, she just kept slapping Rhea's face over and over again. I just kept popping for that. It was so unnecessarily silly, but also just kind of perfect. Nia's just gonna be like this bitch. That's it. Like she's just gonna be that person, and that's fine. It's gonna be entertaining, and love her or hate her and feel how you want about, you know, the everything we just talked about. She elicits a response. And do I wish that, and I hope that she has picked up a few more moves or just learned some stuff in ring. She was training with Devon Dudley, you know, a few months back. So there has been at least some training or at least some work put in on her side. And hopefully, you know, she works a physical style. She always has. Now it's also on her to maintain and make sure that the women and people that she works with are kept equally safe to the work that she does. So that's my general hope. But as a character, like I'm kind of into it because it's just she's a character that's already got legs. She's already over with the crowd in some way, shape, or form.
You can argue that they probably should have built somebody to take this position, and they have other women to utilize who can fill roles. But like I said, like there aren't many people who fill that role that Nia can fill. And so they're utilizing her in that role. Good on her. We'll see where it goes. As long as everyone's safe in the ring, as long as we don't have any more incidents. Actually, you know what? We do need more incidents like Nia and Charlotte because that fucking ruled. Them shooting on each other when they got heated. That was awesome. We need more of that. I don't want anybody getting legit punched in the face, broken nose like Becky, even though that turned into the biggest moment of Becky's career at the time. Don't need that because that wasn't good. But Nia and Charlotte just going straight shoot fight on each other, that was fantastic. Then they tried to recreate it and it looks silly. But the actual, like, what the hell's going on? Oh, that popped me so much. So we do need Nia shooting a little bit, and then we need people to fire back at her. Don't be afraid. Fire the fuck back.
I just thought of the moment where they did the shoot fight on each other. They just got lost. They got lost in the match and decided it was both each other's fault and decided to take it into their own hands.
Hilarious. Those are the, like, everyone's good. They even say they like joke about it. They're friends now and everything. Like it's fine. Like that's the fun stuff in wrestling. Just like start shooting on each other in the middle of the match. The fact that it like happened on live television and it was legit and they just like broke out of their match to do this. So funny. They can joke. If they can joke about it now, then I'll joke about it too. But so damn funny that they did this.
I want to actually point this out. The reason why I tapped out before the end of Raw was actually because I couldn't watch Raw properly either. And I couldn't watch NXT properly last night either because in Canada, I use Sportsnet, right? And the Sportsnet app, they just underwent some changes. They're now called Sportsnet Plus. Regardless, the WWE Network version on Sportsnet includes the live WWE programming as it airs, and then all the pay-per-view, the PLEs and the backlog and all that stuff. Everything was working fine up until recently, where on Monday, when I went to log into Raw, it kept giving me an error code, and it keeps throwing me this error code saying the service is only available in Canada. Well, I hate to break it to y'all. I'm in Canada. I'm not using a VPN. I'm not using a static IP, but for some stupid reason, this service has decided that it's not going to work for me. Reached out to Rogers, who owns Sportsnet, and I'm just like, what the hell's the deal? And they're just like, we'll email you something. And I'm like, no, you won't. So I'm looking for alternative means to watch the shows, and it's a pain in the ass when those alternative means get torn down every 10 minutes. Wink, wink.
You need to find much better alternative means, Joel.
I'm trying to, Jeremy Lambert. It's a pain in the butt. People.
It's not. It's not if you know where to look and you know who to ask.
I've got 3 separate websites that I use for feeds, and
Post them in the private chat. I'll tell you if they're any good.
all right, I will. Anyway, just gonna blame Canada on this one. It's just
I got 1, and it always works.
Yeah,
always works. I actually got 2. It always works. See, Kai's got the link. We're just selling links out here. You need a link, huh? You need that link hookup? Yeah.
Everyone's got a link. The problem is once that link dies, you got to wait for a new one to get up. So they're there in the private chat. Those are the 3 that I'll use.
It must be a Canada issue because I've never had any issues with any of those sites.
It's because they get copyright struck if they're on certain websites. This is an offline conversation.
I'm just saying I've never had an issue with any of these sites.
Sportsnet, work properly is all I'm saying.
I watch I have more issues with my friggin' USA Network stream cutting off, and I pay for this. Like, that's a pain in the ass that it doesn't want to always work. So just admit you don't support women's wrestling, Joel, and you fell asleep. It had nothing to do with the cable, Sportsnet, Rogers, whatever. It was that you were tired and you just decided to, oh, there's a women's main event. I will fall asleep now. That's what happened, Joel. It's okay to admit that.
Have you read the thing yet?
Yeah, how are they washed? Tatar had 20 goals last year with the Devils. Druin, they're paying him less than $1 million to be on this team. I love both signings.
Let's go Ducks.
No, both signings are great. I'm pumped. That Tatar signing, that's fantastic, by the way. He just showed up. Avs don't even have training camp open. They're just like holding practice because a lot of the guys are in town ready for training camp. Tatar just shows up wearing an Avs jersey, and then like 5 minutes later, the Avs are like, oh, by the way, we've signed Thomas Tatar to a contract. It's like, well, I would hope so because he just showed up at your rink wearing a jersey. It's like the after AEW when they make the announcement, they just wrestle on television, and then AEW is like, they're all elite. Well, yeah, I hope so. They just showed up and beat your champion. I hope they're part of the company at this point. Like, John Moxley just showed up and laid out Kenny Omega. Like, I hope he signed.
What is this? Ring of Honor at Madison Square Garden? What is this? Real One and Big Cass or Ring of Honor? That was a great show that nobody watched and everyone got upset about.
That main event, Jay White and Okada, was really good.
That was a very good main event. Did you know that Matt Taven was the reason that building was filled up?
Plus Matt Taven, man. He won that, like, on scale, like the biggest match in ROH history. If we're being honest about things, right? Like MSG sold out. Like, on scale, that was the biggest match in ROH history. And like, it's just a guy on AEW television getting his neck strong. He's not even, I mean, he's kind of getting his neck strong, but like, he's just a neck strong supporter. Like, he's the guy, like, when they're doing the necking, he's there like cheering them on for the necking. Like, that's what's going on. Like, he's just a viewer of the neck strong and the neck workouts. It's just adjacent to, you're the cameraman in that instance. You're not even the star.
I mean, Matt Taven's the star.
No one knows who the cameraman is when the necking is going on, when all those neck workouts are happening.
Well, everyone knows Stu. Stu is the guy behind the camera all the time.
Stu doesn't shoot necking. Do you know? Let's. We were talking about hockey. Now we're talking about necking. Let's just go ahead and dive right into this, Joel. Let's ask the real questions around here. Do you know any porn camera people?
Hold on, I had to think about this. I know a lot of people in production. Do I know people? If I do, they haven't actually told me that that's what they do.
Ask your production friends. Be like, hey, you ever run camera for a porn shoot?
Okay. What is the follow-up to that question?
No, you don't need. Why do you need a follow-up? Just yes or no. Just like, okay, cool, thanks.
I thought you were trying to make a point.
No, I'm having a conversation. There's no point to. We're talking about porn cameraman. There's no point to this at all.
Listen, at one point we were trying to get Alexis Fox on the Stop it. Stop doing that.
I'm supporting Jey Uso.
At one point, we were trying to get Alexis Fox on this show. Apparently,
Yeah, we were.
we
And she
still
didn't
have
return my DMs.
Oh, gee, I'm shocked. A random account just sends a DM to a
Not
woman.
random. I had a purpose for this DM.
So do the other ones who are asking her to be married to them.
I wasn't married. I'm happily married.
I'm aware, but I'm saying in her eyes, you may be nothing more than the people who get into her DMs and are just like, feet pics?
I didn't ask for feet pics. I said, hey, will you come on this wrestling show? Don't make me out to be some pervert here.
I'm not saying you
Joel?
are. I'm saying she might take whatever you say as no different than what some of the others say.
Hey, do you want to come on this legitimate wrestling? Well, legitimate, stupid.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to come on this legitimate in the sense that we are a real wrestling show? Do you want to come on this wrestling show? You can see our stuff. Yeah, random bearded white man sends her DM that goes on. That's fair. That part is fair of like, she just saw profile picture and is like, nope, not even going to entertain this idea. I don't care what he has to say. It can be a real thing. Like, nope, not even going to entertain it. That part, very fair. Had she read what I was asking, I was asking a legitimate question to get her on a real show, not to solicit feet pics.
There's still time.
And I can message again. I feel like the window has missed. You only get one opportunity at the money shot, Joel.
Didn't we have someone who was like, I can hook you up? Not literally, but like someone who could get us in contact.
Yeah, it didn't. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. It didn't work out.
I still want that other. I want that other YouTuber to get to us.
Well, maybe he is, worried about feet pics as well, Joel, and that's why he has not gotten back to me either.
He's too busy pranking members of certain places in the world. Anyway, I see someone in the chat just like, she might have a little junk folder for DMs from non-mutuals, and that's probably more likely. You most likely ended up in her junk.
I don't know if she's on the X right now, because now I'm verified, baby, and so I can just message freely all of these people.
I thought you DM'd her on Instagram.
It was Instagram. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, she's verified there.
Yeah, I'm not verified on the Insta.
Yeah, no, neither am I. I ain't paying for that.
Yeah. I fortunately got the X. I used work as an excuse to not have to pay in full on that one.
That's probably
so. If she's on Twitter, then maybe I'll have a better shot at things, as I am verified through the Twitter. Instagram. See, I don't look great on Instagram when I send Instagram DMs, because I got like no followers. I don't follow anybody. I don't have any posts or anything. Like, I have no like real presence on Instagram. So that's why I don't like using Instagram to DM people, because I legitimately don't look like I'm legit as who I am. And so they probably do just ignore me. Twitter, you can at least click and be like, oh yeah, here we go. Here's the actual person. We know this is the person who says he is.
It's very frustrating that we go after these people who only have Instagram, and then we're like, please look at us on our Twitter accounts where we are more popular and well known. And
everyone should get on X, is what we were saying.
Yes, come and roll on X with us. That's what you do, right? To join X, you gotta click.
I don't know. Never done it.
Oh, done what?
X.
I thought that was the website we're talking about.
It is. Never done it.
Who's on first? Shit. Why do I do this every time? Anyway, what's left to talk about? We do have Dynamite, but I don't think I want to spend 30 minutes talking about Dynamite. Is there anything you want to cover from the last couple of days with WWE, with Raw or with SmackDown, or sorry, Raw with NXT? There's some stuff we could talk about.
What happened on Raw? You fell asleep. You don't even know. You don't support women's wrestling.
No, I do know, because other stuff happened. Jey Uso showed up and everyone's
I like the Jey Uso stuff.
Okay.
I like that. I like that people don't trust him, and he accidentally super kicked Kevin, and he's kind of getting his own way with stuff. It's much more compelling than the Jimmy Uso stuff, where they got seemingly no idea what they're doing. At least they're trying to tell some stories here with Jay and calling back to the past. Jimmy is still like just stuck in bloodline mud here.
He's stuck in the past, Jimmy Uso.
Yeah, I like the Jey Uso stuff. That's good on Raw. Cody, speaking of spinning some wheels, they're just like, here's Dominic again, dude. Have fun.
That's spinning your wheels. I don't know where that's going. Well, actually, I kind of do. And
we talked about it. We said
Title Tuesday.
Cody is going to be on this show, and Cody's going to do the dumbest shit he could possibly do. Is he like Dominic Mysterio, NXT North American title match? Let's break out the fire. Let's break out the tax. 100 people in the Performance Center don't care. Let's do it all, Dom. Let's go.
This is what I said was going to happen. You're going to have Dominic Mysterio versus Cody Rhodes for the North American Championship on Title Tuesday. I know that's the AEW, but that's what they're calling it. But like, let's face it. Let's also call it NXT Title Tuesday. Let's just cross brand, because now AEW and WWE and UFC are just going to be all one big happy family. So Title Tuesday.
Title Tuesday is a stupid name.
They just wanted some alliteration. That's all. Anyway, so it's Title Tuesday, and you've got these two men going up against each other. I wouldn't be surprised if Cody wins the North American Championship, and then he goes over and he says, I can't defend this title as often as I'd like, and I am I want to give credence and respect to the people at NXT. Shawn Michaels, I deliver it to you. And then Shawn Michaels says, thank you, Cody. Now we're going to have an NXT deadline, a 5-man ladder match, and then they're going to have a bunch of matches to do qualifications for that match.
Cody ain't a bitch like that.
Cody's showing reverence to the championship and
Cody
to the company.
Cody ain't a bitch like that. Have more respect for Cody in this. Cody's going to win that title from Dominic, and then he's going to compete in that 5-man ladder match, because he ain't got to take a loss in that aspect. Just climb the title. It's fine. He ain't got to take that loss. Cody's going to compete in that ladder match. He's going to win the title, but then he'll give it up proper. He ain't going to just lose his smile. Oh, I can't make the towns. Cody makes the damn towns. That's why he's Cody Rhodes. He's going to compete in that ladder match. He'll lose, but that's where they're going with this.
Okay, that's fair. I could see that being a thing. And then he goes on and wins the Royal Rumble.
And maybe he finishes the story at WrestleMania 40.
Maybe
I'm so excited for Cody in the Performance Center, by the way. So, what do you want to talk about? In front of 100 people, all cheering, Cody, Cody, Cody. He's shouting out his father, Dusty. I was back there. Dusty was back there. He had his own office back there. He used to come bring people into his office. They would eat the barbecue. They would watch the tapes. They would just tell stories, brother. And I would go up to the main roster. Dusty didn't want to show any favoritism to his kid, Dusty's kids. They talk about all of Dusty's kids here at NXT. All the men that Dusty paved the way for here at NXT while I was off doing my own thing. I'm back here in NXT now. I want to get a taste of what this is like. I wanted to see what my father had built firsthand. That's why I'm here. And that North American title, I don't think it's around somebody who Dusty Rhodes would have been proud of. Carmelo Hayes as the NXT champion, that's a person who Dusty Rhodes would have been proud of. Dominic Mysterio, your father's not proud of you. My father wouldn't have been proud of you. And I'm going to take that title from you. Cody, 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 Cody. Big pyro going off.
So that's hold on. That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do about the pyro at the PC?
They're going to fucking use it.
You have to get some extra filtration system going for that.
The whoa, with 100 people in that small building, roof legitimately might come off that place. That thing's gonna pop, baby.
Listening to however many people in the PC do Becky's theme last night, that was kind of sad. I gotta say,
Cody's gonna make that pop. I can't wait for Cody on NXT. Cody against Dom. Cody in the 5-person, 6-person, multi-man ladder match with bodies flying around and stuff, just doing some dumb stuff. Cody rules. I can't wait for Cody. He said it. He said when he did that table fire spot with Andrade because he's like, I just want to do stuff to make sure people were tuning in, and they weren't going to tune out when Cody Rhodes was on television. They weren't going to tune over to that other channel when Cody was out there. He's going to have that same mindset going to NXT. He's like, I want to make sure they're tuned in to this, and so they ain't tuned over to that. He's the underdog again on NXT. Underdog Cody Rhodes with the chip on his shoulder with something to prove when he feels backed up and he feels disrespected.
And then he goes
Go get him, Cody.
And then he goes up to the statue for the Dusty Classic and he kisses it and he cries a couple tears. And then he's like, wait, I have an idea. And he walks in to Sean's office, but it actually says Regal now because it's a year and we can finally start doing that. So he walks into the office and he says, bring it back. And then Sean or Regal say, bring what back? And he says, you know. And they say, no. And he's like, then I will. And he comes out to the ring and they do the whole whoa. And this is actually his third entrance of the night. Don't know how. He's just dominated a 2-hour show. He is just,
as he should.
Yeah, as he should. NXT is like, they're going to rename it CXT for Cody. I don't know, whatever. Cody
That
comes
didn't
out.
work.
Not at all. So Cody comes out third time and he introduces the Dusty Cup and we're back on, baby. That's how it goes.
Good. Just keep giving me the Cody Rhodes. Put him on every single show.
February should be NXT Groundhog Day. That would be very funny. And it's just Cody coming out after every segment.
Good. Oh, Cody, he's already a star in the main roster. You put him in that little setting, that's the biggest star in the world right there. I can't wait for Cody in NXT.
What happens if it doesn't happen?
Then WWE clearly hates me, and I will not stand for it. I will stand for it. That's I will never watch NXT again if we don't get a Cody Rhodes appearance at some point this year.
Honestly, Cody working NXT for the rest of the year, it kind of works. Like he ain't doing anything else. They just kind of told us pretty much the same thing you got before. We're just going to do here. Why not put it on Tuesdays? Why not just do that? Get him a bus and just let him go to town.
He already has a bus.
I thought they got rid of the bus. Didn't Brandy say she couldn't do the bus anymore?
Nah, they still got the bus.
Oh, they always got the bus then. Well, maybe he just travels in the bus and Brandy was like, I'm going to go back and forth.
Yeah, Brandy's taking care of the kids. She's got a yoga studio and stuff now.
Good for her, by the way. They announced the opening of that studio. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of where I am with
Cody.
North American champion Cody Rhodes winning it at Title Tuesday and losing it at NXT Deadline in December.
It's fine. Do the multi-man ladder match, baby.
It would work. It would honestly work. And then the week after, the Tuesday after, he's like, well, it didn't go the way it was supposed to at Deadline, but I still got one more trick up my sleeve. And that's when he brings out the Dusty Trophy. We announced the Dusty Cup in early 2024. There, look at us. Ah.
I like this. Yeah, the Cody verse. Bring that shit to Tuesday.
Let's go.
Cody verse.
So, PC, what do you want to talk about? And they're just like, for the last time, nothing.
Nah, the PC crowd's eating that up, man. Cody's so beloved. Beloved.
After 5 weeks, though, that crowd turned on you.
Nah, not Cody. Cody's built different, man. He is built different when it comes to this stuff. That man is just, he stays over. Bless him.
That's true. He'll give a stump speech and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Everyone will be happy. It's fine. Anyway, let's talk about Dynamite. You want to shift to AEW for a bit?
Okay.
It's a pretty busy night. We have a few matches to go through and a couple of segments, I guess. We'll hear from the Sex Gods. Don't know why they're still being touted as a tag team, considering they A, broke up last week, and B, have a match at Grand Slam against one.
They didn't break up, though. They just got to settle their differences like men.
No, they don't. They have to fight and hate each other and not be a team anymore.
No, they're just, they have some disagreements. Some people settle disagreements with the rock, paper, scissors, shoot or something. Some people go to therapy. They decide they're going to have a wrestling match against each other. And then after the wrestling match, they'll be brothers again. Joel, pay attention.
More people should go to therapy is all I'm saying.
Pay attention to the show, Joel. They did not break up. They're going to have a segment. They're going to talk about how much they love each other tonight. And they said, but you know what? Sometimes brothers fight. And next week at Grand Slam, we are going to fight and we're going to settle things. And after we're done fighting, we're going to go after those AEW Tag Team Championships because we still have respect for each other.
Nobody wants to. No.
Look at these. The chat's calling you out. Look at this. They didn't break up. They still want to win the tag titles, bro.
Yeah, you know what?
Joe Pearl must have fallen asleep for this too.
I probably did, because you know what Chris Jericho does for me? Nothing. Okay? Wow. Not much. You know what Sammy Guevara does for me? Not much. Their match with Aussie Open, that was fine. What I don't need is the way that match was carried on, which was, oh, we keep getting in each other's way. Up, and they still lost. Come on, they won. They should have lost. Is what it should. That's the way it should have been. Is that they kept getting in each other's way until they lost the match. Instead, it was
It was hilarious. It was legitimately hilarious that like this isn't working after they won. Like Kobe and Shaq, baby. You know they were winning titles. It's like this isn't really working.
Take the victories where they come. Aussie Open should have won that match. That's all it should have been.
I had Kobe and Shaq at least lost their last title before they officially broke up to the Pistons, but they were just winning before that, even though they hated each other. Sometimes, again, Jericho and Sammy are Cody and Shaq. On record, clip it, put it online. Sure, nobody cares about my actual opinions, but if Road Dogg says this, people would be like, what the hell?
It was planned that Becky Lynch would be booed and Charlotte would be cheered. We wanted it to be that way.
Bro, Road Dogg was just trolling on his podcast today. I respect it. I respect that he recognizes the trolling.
Oh, I'm saying 5 years ago, he was fully bought into the fact that turning Becky heel was a good idea.
Oh, I know, but he was trolling today because they asked him, are you a better sports entertainer than the Young Bucks? And he's like, yes. He's like, I know I'm going to get a bunch of... Nash is doing the same thing. Like, I had no heat with Punk, but I'm going to say this because he gets a bunch of clicks. Like, good on them. They know the game.
They know
the game is the game.
And they don't get weird about it too, because Nash at least had the decency to then do the whole, we're just doing this for clicks, right? Like, yeah. At least, because sometimes people just need to hear it. Sometimes people just need to hear, stop being weird, go outside, touch grass, and then don't beat up your coworkers.
The game is the game, Joel, and you give these old guys give their thoughts on stuff, and they know what they're doing. They know they're just going to get clicks out of it. Sometimes they say like, just playing, brother. They say it publicly. And other times they might say it behind the scenes. But regardless, never stop working. Everyone, never stop working.
Speaking of never stop working, Don Callis reveals his next masterpiece, and I hope Mel Coleman is having a lovely vacation.
Who's it going to be?
Well, Mel Coleman made it, so.
I know. Do you know who it is? Like legitimately?
No, actually, because she's been on vacation. We haven't chatted in a week.
Okay.
Who could it be? Is it maybe it's Sammy Guevara?
What? Shouldn't they do a Takeshi Jericho match? Like, shouldn't they actually like do that? I guess Ospreay was the advocate for, or the surrogate for Don Callis and that to take out Jericho. Moxley, I guess they were aligned. Moxley's kind of a heel, but you would think Takeshi would want some gold after beating Kenny. Who makes sense for Takeshi to go after?
John Moxley.
I just said that.
I know. I can't think of anyone else. Who's the TNT champ? No, that's not going to work. I don't know. I don't know. You would assume he wants a championship.
I mean, Don Callis just has like personal grudges. Who does Don Callis have a personal grudge against?
Yeah, right Ibushi. I don't want to see that though. Like, you could do it. I'm not really jonesing to see Kota Ibushi in a singles match just yet. You could do it at Wrestle Dream because Ibushi can still be considered a New Japan talent. Like they patch things up and they're friendly fire now. So you could do that, I guess. I don't love it.
Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, that's another one. But Orange coming back from losing the title, you don't want to have him lose again, right? You don't have him go and just lose his first feud out.
Man, Orange is gonna stay over. I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, he would, but I don't know. I wouldn't do it. Goldberg is the one.
Keith Lee?
Oh God, I hope not. Takeshi and Keith Lee would just be not good.
Wow.
For anybody, any way, any shape, any form. No thanks.
Vehemently upset at this, Joel. Wow.
You are, or are you?
You are.
I'm not. I just don't think it would be good. Also, then it would be happening on Collision because for some reason Keith Lee is now a Collision guy.
Brand split ended, Joel.
Not according to Keith Lee, who's
Watch
like,
the
you can
product.
find me on Collision.
Watch the product. The brand splits over.
It depends who you ask.
MJF.
Ballsy.
Gold.
That would be fun. Don't think it's going to be MJF.
Yeah.
Colt Cabana. He's avenging. I don't know who, but he's avenging Colt Cabana's ghost.
There's some options, but there aren't like too many strong. I mean, if Don Callis is building his family here, which is only Takeshita and maybe sometimes Will Ospreay, if he can get 2 other people there, you can go after the Acclaimed.
Why aren't Aussie Open considered part of the family?
Because they're United Empire, not Don Callis family.
But I'm saying, if Will Ospreay is part of the family, isn't it safe to assume that his brothers from...
They're like third cousins, man. They don't come to all the gatherings. They're third cousins.
Sometimes you got to invite those cousins, even in the extenuating circumstances.
Maybe they do bring in the third cousins Aussie Open, but right now they're just not part of it. Jack Perry would have made sense. Oh, I guess Jack Perry's a heel. Hook. Oh, Hook. Why not Hook?
Why Hook?
You gotta do something with these people, Joel.
I know you do, but what excuse are you gonna make with a Don Callis? Gonna be like, we're going after you, Taz, because you talk shit about me incessantly in ECW, and when I was Cyrus the Virus trying to shut you down, you were already gone. So what does it matter?
Dude, he's just revealing some masterpiece painting to target the next person. You can make sense out of whoever you wanted to make sense of. They gotta do something with Hook.
Probably, maybe it's Darby that they're going after.
Darby's got like 8 feuds right now.
Well, what's one more?
Bless Darby, man. He's doing a lot of heavy lifting for this company as the babyface.
What if it's Adam Cole and they're just trying to give Adam Cole something to do while MJF is out defending his championship?
I mean, well, Adam Cole's ROH tag team champion with MJF.
There you go. Takeshita can get a friend, and then we can have Takeshita, Adam Cole. Takeshita and who knows who versus Adam Cole and MJF.
I just said he should get a friend, but he should get 2 friends. It's
better
to have more friends.
Yeah, you should. That's why Aussie Open comes into this whole thing.
Why not one Aussie Open member?
I mean, a few months ago, you probably would have had one.
Well, they're both healthy now, Joel. You were mad about that.
I know. I don't know why the graphic didn't come so.
What else is on this show?
What else is on the show? The Grand Slam Women's Championship 4-way eliminator, because AEW is very well known for their 4-way women's matches. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, Hikaru Shida, Nyla Rose, Toni Storm. Winner gets Saraya at Grand Slam. 1 year after her big debut last year at Grand Slam, Saraya is now the AEW World Women's Champion. Who you got between Baker, Shida, Rose, and Toni Storm?
It should be Shida. I'm worried that it might not be Shida. Baker makes sense. Tony makes sense. Nyla,
Make Nyla make sense.
She's a former champion. Like, that's kind of just how she makes sense as she's in this match, but she ain't really been on TV or doing anything. She's just kind of there.
Nyla Rose is the quarterly first challenger for your new champion almost all the time. So Nyla Rose makes sense.
Yeah. The other 3 I could see, and you can make sense out of it. Either Shida gets her one-on-one rematch, Toni Storm. There's obviously her and Saraya had the falling out. She cost Ruby, all this kind of stuff. And Britt, like when Saraya debuted, it was going after Britt. Britt was the first match back and everything. Britt is still comes off like a big star in the company. And there's an actual, I mean, Shida's a babyface, but there is a good babyface heel divide with Britt and Saraya. So all of those make sense. I don't know where they go. I think it should be Shida. That's where I would go with it. I'd probably just go ahead and put the belt back on Shida. But we shall see.
I can see. I'm with you with Shida. Toni Storm winning would make a big deal just because she is just incredibly over right now. And also you can play out the whole what's going to happen with the outsiders and, are they going to want to fight their former teammate and Toni Storm is crazy, yada, yada. There is a larger story you can tell there. I don't know if they want to do that or if they're going to go there just yet. Maybe play that out later, but Shida coming and winning that title, it works for me. It's just it's what I would do. It's what I would want. I don't see Saraya as a long-term women's champion.
Yeah, we will see if if Saraya is holding that belt for a while, or if it was just a feel good moment for All In front of her family and stuff. So Redmond says he thinks he sees Saraya hold it till Full Gear at least. I feel like she's going to get one successful title defense in there. We don't need to hot potato this title even more. Like, can we get some establishment to this belt?
I don't think she's going to be holding the title for too long. Hangman Adam Page, Brian Cage, third time is the charm. Who we got between Page and Cage? And why isn't it being put in a cage?
I mean, Hangman's most likely winning because I think the loss comes to Swerve, not here. So I know they're what?
You're still on that, the Swerve winning.
Yeah, I think Swerve. I think they should do a trilogy, and Swerve wins the first one.
Okay, no, okay, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, it'll be a good match though. Their past matches were good, so yeah, it'll be a good match. But I don't think they're gonna do the Hangman adversity story quite. I mean, that's what they're doing in a sense, but I don't think it's gonna include a loss to Cage. Yeah, I think the loss comes to Swerve.
Yeah, I can understand that. I do think Adam Page wins, or you can have Cage kind of luck his way into it, and then Swerve, not luck his way, he cheat his way to win, and then Swerve come out and be like, "See, you didn't want it enough. Why should I face you if you're just gonna lose this match against my guy?" So I could see that happening.
Yeah, but you got to do the match between Swerve and Hangman. It's better if Hangman like wins, maybe kind of like skates by on it, like just kind of gets by. Hangman maybe shows some fire afterwards, or maybe he doesn't show fire. Maybe Swerve still like downplays them, be like, that's it. Like, you barely won this match. The Hangman I know, as good as Brian Cage is. And the last time somebody lost a damn match, Swerve just kicked him out of the damn group. He was like, "Get out of here, dude." But maybe it's just like, you barely got by. If that's the best Hangman I'm gonna get, is give a cakewalk against you, like dog walk you. If that's the Hangman Page I'm gonna get at Wrestle Dream or whatever, or Grand Slam, wherever they're gonna do this match.
Would you do a trios match between Hangman and the Elite versus the trios, the ROH trios champions?
No, because
it's Agony and Brian Cage.
No, why? No.
I could just see the Gates of Agony getting involved in this match, and then the Young Bucks having to come in and be like, you think you're so big? Well, we're going to trios match. Don't put those titles on the line. The ROH World 6-man titles are reserved for people who are about to be out of contract winning the titles. That's the way that title has worked for the last 3 rounds. We don't change it now. But yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. I could see them doing the Young Bucks thing.
No.
Or you can do an Elite versus Mogul Embassy match. Do a 4-on-4.
Young Bucks are still just hanging out with FTR, I guess, right now. Like,
sure, they are the FT besties.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where that actually is going. Are they going to do another match between those teams? FTR is doing their open challenge thing. And maybe, look, if the Young Bucks are good friends, they should get involved and help out Hangman. But they got options. They got options here. I just don't see them doing ROH 6-man stuff. They don't actually care about those ROH 6-man titles.
I'm not saying they put those tag titles on the line. I'm saying that just because they are hypothetically a 6-man tag team.
Yeah, but they got to win that. You can't have like those guys taking those losses. I know they like to lose. They're okay with losing, but like Young Bucks got to win some stuff and get back in that tag division and like help build that. Hangman, he can take the loss to Swerve. I don't need him losing 6-man tag matches.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
To Brian Cage and Bishop and Khan. I like all these guys, but I just don't need him losing these matches.
All right, well, let's move on to the AEW International Championship. Jon Moxley takes on Big Bill. Next week, it'll be Colt Cabana. The day then it's going to be Dirty Dango. Yeah,
bro, that Jon Moxley promo ruled on Control
good.
Center or Road to whatever it was.
I did.
Like the last person that stepped here in Cincy, challenged for a title, woke up in the hospital and didn't remember what the hell happened. Jon Moxley is just the greatest, absolute greatest. It'd be a fun match. Big Bill's improved a lot since the WWE stuff. I think anybody who's watched him in AEW can agree and attest to that. Jon Moxley's on a different level from a lot of people right now. Former roommates, they're gonna hit each other really hard. They're gonna have a lot of physicality, Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Honestly, I don't think the result is really in doubt, but like I'm really looking forward to the actual match.
Yeah, I am too. This is going to be a fun one. You hit the nail on the head. Big Bill has come a long, long way, and I had the pleasure of watching him in Impact as he was kind of getting his legs back, and people were getting excited about his work again. And I think he's really developed not only as a character but also further as a wrestler. And he's a good dude, you know. From everything I continue to hear about him and the work he's been doing lately, it seems like this is a good position for him. Moxley winning is clearly the play. Big Bill pulling out a shock victory in Cincy I'd be ballsy, but I just think it'll be a good match. Ricky Starks will be involved somehow, and it'll be fun to watch. And then the main event, presumably tonight, the Grand Slam tournament final. It's Roderick Strong taking on Mimosa Joe. This is a very interesting match. A lot of people going back and forth. Who's going to get the Grand Slam title match, and who's going to get the Wrestle Dream title match, or is neither man going to get the Wrestle Dream title match?
I think that Joe is the play here, because Joe's story is more MJF. Roddy's story, it's MJF centric. It's tied to it, but it's more Adam Cole. And you can do, and I suspect at some point, and they should do a Roddy Strong MJF match, but Joe is directly in MJF's line. Roddy is a little purview because he's more directly in Adam Cole's line. So I think Joe's the call here to do the match at Grand Slam.
I still think it is going to be a match for Roddy Strong to win. I think it'll be I think it'll be some shenanigans, not necessarily runs or anything. I think Adam Cole gets involved in some way and costs someone the match. In this case, Adam Cole, and Adam Cole costs Mimosa Joe the match, and we have Roddy Strong. And now everyone's feeling conflicted in a certain way. That's kind of where I'm going with this. Or the Kingdom get involved and they help him, or MJF gets involved because he doesn't want to face Samoa Joe because he knows Joe could beat the shit out of him. So instead, he's going to take on Roddy Strong because he'd rather the worst of the two men. That's most likely in my brain of MJF getting involved and like costing Joe the match and just being like, haha, no title match for you, back of the line. And we move from there.
If this match does not close the show, watch the screw.
What do you mean by watch the screw?
The screwy finish.
Oh, then yes,
Joel.
Absolutely. Yes.
The screwy finish.
I thought you were talking.
I didn't sell that as well as Tony Storm. I'm sorry.
Yeah, watch for the screw.
Yeah.
Emphasis on.
There you go. I wasn't trying to bite Tony Storm completely there.
No, you just, yeah.
I'm a writer, not a biter, Joel Pearl.
Well, let's bite our way out of here. Leave a thumbs up and Jeremy. Nice. Let's get out of here. Do the things, the plugs and stuff.
Folks, it's the final episode before my birthday episode.
Oh, before your birthday.
Joel Pearl has promised a huge show on Friday. We have no guest book. Joel said, do not book any guest. He said, don't worry about it. I got everything covered for Friday. We have surprises. We have run-ins. We have all kinds of fun stuff planned. Joel has this planned. I don't have anything planned. I don't know what to expect. Joel has promised just the biggest show of all time for my birthday on Friday. So everyone tune in. It's going to be a great show. And if it's not a great show, but I know it will be. I've heard the plans. I've heard it all. But if it's not, it's all Joel Pearl's fault. I don't have anything else to plug. Watch Tag Talk. Watch Indeed. Watch Bread Club. New episode of Bread Club went up. Watch Coexisting. But before you watch Coexisting on Friday, watch In the Weeds, the birthday episode. Our biggest show of all time.
Yeah?
This is what you're promising, Joel.
Oh, okay. Good point. Okay. Brian Danielson. Got to talk to him. Okay. I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. We'll be back on Friday for whatever Jeremy said we're back for, 10 a.m. Eastern till noon. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we'll see you on Friday for whatever the hell I'm supposed to be doing.